First things first, the chicken is okay. The chicken is okay. Let me reassure you. I've been inundated with messages this week and also customers coming in to ask me face to face, how is the chicken? The chicken's fine. The chicken's fine. The chicken was moist. That's all we demand from a chicken. Moist, perfectly timed, perfectly timed. It was a nice evening meal. Good. Now that that's out the way, welcome to episode 30 of Inside the Video Store. Welcome back. It's been another great week. I cannot complain at all. More whoring myself out. Unfortunately, I'm pretty much spent. I'm pretty much sure that I have exhausted all avenues. On Saturday morning, I was on the Billy Butler radio show. Now, Billy Butler, to those of you outside Merseyside and the Liverpool area, will mean absolutely nothing. When I tell you that he's most well known for a radio show called Hold Your Plums, that will probably mean even less. But Billy Butler is kind of a radio icon in the Liverpool area, a real radio icon, been around for 50 plus years, so that was a bit of a thrill to speak to someone like him, who obviously had lots of questions about the video store and how it operated. So yeah, it's quite funny. I began listening to his show and he kind of like set up who was coming on this week, and he said, oh yeah, we got Dave Wain from Snips Movies in Wirral, who has one of the last rental shops in the country. Saying, I don't get it really. I mean, there's so many charity shops nearby where you can get movies for, next to nothing, pennies, and they have loads there. So I don't know why people would want to rent movies. Well, Billy, in the charity shop, you can't rent the Agfa Blu-ray of Jenny Wife Child. And likewise, you can't rent the Something Weird Blu-ray of Blonde on a Bum Trip. Sadly, you go down to Oxfam or Help the Aged, they're not going to have those films. They may, though, have 27 copies of Mrs. Brown's Boys. Also this week, I had the distinct pleasure of going on Brian Sauer's vidcast, Just the Discs. If you're not a subscriber to Just the Discs, then you must do so. Brian keeps you up to date with all things physical media. Absolute pleasure to go on there. We spent 50 minutes or so talking about physical media, video stores, and just stuff in general. It was absolutely great. If you head over to Brian's channel, Just the Discs, then you can listen to that and watch it, and I hope you enjoy it, because I had a really, really good time, and hopefully I've known Brian for about 10 years. We've been doing stuff, bits and bobs. I've been used to contribute lists to his Rupert Pupkin Speaks blog, which, if you like underrated movies, it was the place to go. It was the place to go. And obviously Brian is the co-host of the Pure Cinema podcast, which in my estimation is the best podcast about movies, or certainly little heard movies, underseen movies. That's out there. I listened to the new episode today, and it was absolutely fantastic. Talking about horror, curating a horror marathon to last from 6 p.m. until the wee hours of the morning, and some of the picks were really, really cool. It was great to hear Elric mention the great film stuck on video, Misbegotten, with Kevin Dillon, written by Larry Cohen, which is a real rarity in the Larry Cohen fold, but it's a great film. I've got it on VHS in the back. I'll have to see if I can pop it up in this segment. But yeah, really cool indeed. Anyway, that's enough tittle tattle, and let's crack on. It's quite a big week, to be honest, in terms of contemporary releases. We got two stonkers in terms of the newbies. We have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is the surprise, new Planet of the Apes film, the fourth one in the most recent lot, I think, maybe. What would that make it? 9th, 10th altogether? First 5, Tim Burton, then 4. I think so. That's 10 movies, possibly. But yeah, this is the new one. who did I have in last night? Sam seen it. He said it was all right. The weakest entry in the franchise, but still worth a look if you like your hirsute action. So yeah, I'll probably take a look at this. I know I'm not a blockbuster guy, but this is one of those franchises that I do have a bit of a soft spot for. I love the original movies, even the original TV series. It was good fun. So yeah, I'll probably check out that, and yeah, that's a pretty good start to the week, to be honest. That should drag a few people in. Also, we have Inside Out 2, the Disney/Pixar movie. This is one of those funny things whereby, you think to yourself, well, why are you getting 2 copies of that, Dave, when it's on Disney Plus for free? Well, it's not for free, is it? You got to subscribe to Disney Plus. And you'd be surprised how many people don't subscribe to Disney Plus, because I will put this on the shelf tomorrow and it will be pretty much out on loan till Christmas. But yeah, cool. Good to see a good family film coming in. This is an interesting one. In a Violent Nature. Yeah. I saw this last night because a few people have recommended it to me over the past few weeks. So certainly suggested I watch it. Horror is kind of my genre of preference. And I thought it was really interesting, to be honest. I mean, it's perhaps not the most... it's a little nonsensical. Some people might find it a little bit boring. But I liked it. I thought there were so many good aspects to it. Be it the kind of POV, that the camera work I thought was brilliant. Really original. A lot of ingenuity there. And I thought the on-screen violence was quite something. It had my face contorting. And so for a horror veteran like myself to contort during a film, it does mean it's fairly effective. So yeah, I thought this was really interesting. Like I say, if you're looking for something meta and edgy and kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, this isn't it. But it is a little bit different, and I quite liked it. In fact, I'm going to order a Blu-ray to go with this, because I think it's something I can tentatively recommend to the discerning horror fan. But interesting. Not a perfect film by any means, but nevertheless quite intriguing. Finally, with the brand new films, we have this Georgian/Turkish film, which is out from Mubi in the UK. It's from the director of And Then We Danced, and it's a tale of identity, acceptance, and connection, about a school teacher who hears that a transgender woman has crossed the border into Turkey. And it tells us about their kind of compassionate friendship relationship, and I think it's meant to be a very bold and interesting independent film, and a great snapshot of world cinema, which is great. As I say, it's difficult to get a good range of world cinema on physical media today. There's not that much coming out week to week, but when it does come out, then absolutely, let's get a hold of it. That looks a really interesting film. On to this week's boutiques. We have a couple of stragglers from last week finally in, from the BFI. We have The Outcasts, which is the new entry in the BFI Flipside series. BFI Flipside is one of my favourite series. This is number 49. Number 50 is coming soon, and we all know what that is. Vincent Price Cooking. Can't beat it. But yeah, 50 into this almost, and the Flipside. Probably one of the most under-rented series in the store, but it's one of my favourites. It's so interesting. You could run your finger along 1 to 50. Any title that you landed on would be interesting in some capacity. I think there's some really cool films there. This is The Outcasts. This is it's written and directed by Robert Wynne Simmons, the writer of Blood on Satan's Claw. It's a folkish tale, 19th century Ireland, a rural community, and a bit of witchcraft in the mix as well. So this looks really interesting. 1982 it hails from. Going back a bit further than 1982, however, is the early works of Michael Powell. one, two, three, four, five movies. Many of these, of course, were lost from Michael Powell. Michael Powell, as you know, Powell Pressburger, Peeping Tom. But this is an interesting double disc Blu-ray of his early works, dating from 1931 to 1944. There's a bit of everything here. Murder mysteries, sensational thrillers, and a comedy crime caper. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. That should be pretty cool indeed. Moving on, we have a new one from Treasured Film. This Treasured Film is the little indie company set up in Birmingham last year, or the year before last, which spawned from the retailer Film Treasures. And I think this is a third film or fourth film. Well, judging by the spine, it's their fourth, but I'm not sure if it's leapt into that position. But nevertheless, it is The Island. The Island, directed, of course, by Michael Ritchie and starring Michael Caine, David Warner, and based on a screenplay by Peter Benchley. So yeah, very cool. This hasn't got I don't think it even had a DVD release in this country. It may have done. But it sounds really interesting. So I've not seen it, but it's nice to have it here on Blu-ray. That's a really interesting release. Of course, probably one of the most anticipated releases of the year is Second Sight's Blu-ray of The Hitcher. I know this is going in or available in a rather swanky box set for 50 quid with lots of stuff that you'll never ever utilize in your life or read. But hey, if you want to get that 50 quid on, that's fine. But may stick to the movie, packed with special features and a transfer that's taken a couple of years to finalize, but hopefully it's worth it. So, it's a brilliant film. Directed by Robert Hartman, starring Rutger Hauer, and it's great to have it on Blu-ray here at last. So many people have been in to rent The Hitcher on DVD in the last 12 months or so, and everyone have tried to kind of push them away and say just wait for the Blu-ray. So I'm looking forward to them finally having the chance to rent it in such an impeccable format. Out this week from Final Cut Entertainment is a disappointingly bare bones release of Dark Angel, the fantastic Craig R. Baxley film that stars Dolph Lundgren and Brian Benben, music by Jan Hammer. This is cool. This is a really cool sort of sci-fi horror hybrid. It's entertaining. Why Final Cut couldn't get together a couple of special features like a commentary with two strapping young men with a affection for Craig R. Baxley. I think I know of them. But never mind. It is here. It is on Blu-ray, and that's kind of the main thing. So that's pretty cool. Good to have that. That's Dark Angel with Dolph Lundgren. This is crazy, isn't it? I mean, imagine having Happiness on 4K UHD. Just ridiculous, isn't it? I've had Happiness obviously since it came out. It's a brilliant film. It's a brilliant film. And it's kind of sat in my Todd Solondz section for 20-something years. And just it's got one of those yellow spines. This hasn't got a yellow spine, but the spine has just faded as it's in the indie section, in the Todd Solondz section. It just gets a bit of a glimpse of sunlight. So over the years, it's just gradually faded, and you can barely see Happiness on the spine. But it's done well. It's been a good renter over the last 20-something years. But it's really cool to have this Criterion edition in on Blu-ray and 4K UHD dual format. That's great, isn't it? A film like Happiness on 4K UHD. Absolutely nutty. 1 second. Two more in from 88 will finish the new films off. It's more for their Tygon collection. This I haven't seen. It's Doomwatch, which is based on the successful BBC TV series of the same name. It looks good fun. It's directed by Peter Sasdy, who of course directed Taste the Blood of Dracula and Hands of the Ripper. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this. Ian Bannon stars in it, Judy Geeson, Simon Oates. And yeah, it should be good good fun. I've not seen it, but again, it kind of builds up this 88 films Tygon collection with yellow spines. Although people have been complaining that the yellow spines aren't the same shade of yellow. 88 may scoff at this, but I don't think you know the damage that you are doing to the movie collecting community with such wanton disregard for shades of yellow. I think it's outrageous. If only you knew. And joining Doom Watch is The Blood Beast Terror, a fantastic film with Peter Cushing, Robert Fleming as well, directed by Vernon Sewell. Seen this years and years and years ago, but can't wait to watch it again. Late 60s British horror, 1968, stacked with special features. You have a booklet, you have a commentary. I'm not familiar with those two guys. 88 has some new commentators. Oh, we should be worried. But yeah, that's great news. So I don't know if have they exhausted the Tygon collection now. There's probably a few more to come. I don't know. But yeah, they are this week's new releases, and that's a good stack. I reckon that's a good stack. Thankfully, I think we get a couple of weeks with a little bit of a slower pace after last week and this week, and gives me some opportunity to find some shelf space, for God's sake. Holy cow. Okay, let's go on to look at what's been renting out. Interesting week. Like I said, it's been another busy week. So lots of choices that I could pick from for this week's 9. First up, we have Inland Empire has rented out. It's a regular renter, you know. It does go out quite a fair few times. I'm quite interested in this. I'm interested in the outcome of this because one of my young customers has rented as Alistair. I don't know how old Alistair is. He's probably about 20. He rented a Razorhead the week before last, and he wasn't too keen on it. But that's okay. You don't have to like every David Lynch film. A Razorhead is a tricky one to navigate. Although in a very Gen Z comment, he did say that the baby in a Razorhead looked like an iPod. An earpod. Is it? Earpod, yeah. Which is interesting. So yeah, he brought this up to the counter and said, no, I'm going to persevere. And I'm going to rent Inland Empire. So, credit to him for persevering with David Lynch. Although I'm not sure if Inland Empire is necessarily the way to go if you've been polarized by a Razorhead. But we shall see. I left him with the sage words of advice. Do not even attempt to understand this film. Just soak it in. That's all you need to do. We shall see. I will report back in due course. J Horror is renting with gusto at the moment. But to be honest, yesterday, recording this on the 2nd of October, yesterday was the 1st, and I must admit the number of people that came in yesterday hell-bent on renting just horror films throughout October was pretty impressive, to be honest. So that's really, really cool. But this one went out, Apartment 1303. I must admit, I have not seen it. I do like a good bit of J-horror. We'll get to that a little bit more later on. And I do like apartment-based horrors, which are always cool. Oh, incidentally, someone came in and told me that they'd just seen the Rosemary's Baby prequel. Any of you seen that? Is it worth my attention on Paramount, is it? I don't know. I've probably subscribed. That's another 70 quid down the toilet every year that I never use. But yeah, Apartment 1303. I had this in for a few years on the old Cine Asia label in the UK. But good to see some J-horror renting out. That was very good indeed. Someone was in last... Oh, Sam, wasn't it? Yeah. He was looking for a third. He was after something involving possession and that kind of thing. And I said, well, to be honest, Sam, you need to get The Exorcist 3 if you've not seen it. It is one of my favourite horror films of all time. In fact, it's probably my second favourite horror film behind William Friedkin's The Exorcist. I just love The Exorcist 3. There's so many great it still terrifies me to bits, and I'm surprised at how many people I find each year that haven't seen it, simply because they've heard the sort of rep of Exorcist 2. I know a lot of people like that, and they've kind of been put off the whole franchise. But no, I like The Exorcist 3 with an absolute passion, and this Blu-ray from Arrow Video is, well, it's just essential. Just essential. Messiah of Evil rented out, which is a great film. And then someone came in and wanted Messiah. Oh, it was Danny, wasn't it? Yeah, so we have two Messiah of Evils out on Blu-ray this week, which is crazy. I mean, who would imagine that? Who would imagine that if you had to pick all the films in the store with two copies out, there's probably no films in the store. You know, fair few hundred films out at the moment, and none of them are duplicated, apart from Messiah of Evil, which two people are renting. One person's got Radiance, one person's got Code Red. And it's just nutty, isn't it, to think about that two copies of Messiah of Evil are out. You know, when you think of how scarce this film used to be and how hard to find it was, and now two people have rented it. Just amazing, just amazing. I know it's something you're probably staring cock-headedly at your television set or your phone or your laptop and thinking, what in God's name is he talking about? But just stuff like that. When films that have been so rare in the past and been so forgotten, practically, when they get a bit of publicity with it, with a new release, and yeah, they just get a second wind. It's so exciting that the people are going to come in next week and tell me how great they thought Messiah of Evil was. I mean, it's brilliant. Jake this week is doing his very best to get on my good side. He has rented both Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings and Crawl Space with the intention of listening to my dull, monotone voice over them. Although, having said that, Blueprint Review did say that the audio commentary for Crawl Space was an outstanding commentary, so I was quite pleased with that review this week. But yeah, Pumpkinhead and Crawl Space going out well, so that's good news. Zombie Cop rented out. I mean, I think I've held this up before, and it's just a delight when stuff like Zombie Cop goes out, because it's a life affirming moment, and it was kind of a weird transaction, to be honest. My friend James came in, who, unbeknownst to him, accidentally went home on Sunday after renting 5 David DeCoteau films, which is a record. Nobody has ever rented 5 David DeCoteau films in one go, let alone accidentally. Let me explain. He rented Zombie Cop, which is produced by David DeCoteau. He rented Retro Puppet Master because he's going through the whole Puppet Master series, and Retro is the next one, so it's, that's life, that is the next one. And he said to me, Dave, I'm after a Linnea Quigley film, something 80s, something Scream Queen. So I said, James, I have just the disc for you with 80s Scream Queens featuring Linnea Quigley. So you get 3 David DeCoteau films for the price of 1. You get Nightmare Sisters, Murder Weapon, and Deadly Embrace. So this man, this poor man, has 5 David DeCoteau films at home, which is mega. I can't wait for him to return them and rip up his membership. It'll be fine. No, they're brilliant. They're absolutely, all those 5 are fantastic films, and he'll have a whale of a time. Okay, I'm consciously not wanting to drone on for too long today, so we're going to quickly have a what's in the box. No chicken. It's not a chicken-based rush. It's a 22 men kicking a ball around a field rush. So less said about that, the better. What's in the box? Yeah, this I bypassed me on release, as things do, and I noticed that it dropped down to 30-something quid on the internet. And I thought, I'm in a J-horror mood. J-horror is renting out by people. Grudge is out on loan currently. Obviously, Apartment 1303. Something else came back this week. There was the Meatball Machine and Tokyo Gore Police, but you know, there's an Asian horror kind of wave at the moment. A couple of Shinya Tsukamoto films went out, and I thought, yeah, I really fancy The Ring. So I've had this at home for a couple of nights. To be honest, I've got a couple of days holiday from this commentary project I'm on at the moment. So I ended up watching the first Ring, which was great, and I'm halfway through the Judge Leader's 1998 sequel to The Ring, which was Spiral. So not the sequel, you know, Ring 2. This is Spiral. So I'm quite intrigued by that. It's got a different feel to it from the first Ring. So I'm looking forward to watching the end of that later. Good. Another one, again, thank you to my customers for pointing this one out. Missed it completely when it came out on Blu-ray. Glad to have it in there. Now, this is the documentary on Ennio Morricone. Has some great talking heads: Quentin Tarantino, Clint Eastwood, Bruce Springsteen, Hans Zimmer. So I really can't wait to watch that. Thank you to Sam for pointing it out. Another customer, I mean, again, it just goes to show you the blind spots that you have when you're here every single day. King Kong did not have the original King Kong, which is just absolutely nuts. But I do now, and that's the main thing. Bizarre, isn't it? You've got the Peter Jackson one, you've got the Godzilla things, but you don't have the 1933 classic with Fay Wray. Weird. Bizarre how these things happen. While things are gradually starting to die down as the year progresses to obviously the new year, I'm trying to fit in a few Warner Archive pickups, and I got two in this week. One is this one, which I can't wait to see. I'd never heard of it. Apparently it was a it's a TNT movie, and I think it was the pilot for a TV show, was it? The Cisco Kid. I know there's been variants of the Cisco Kid in many capacities over the years, but this, I think it's 1994, Jimmy Smits, Cheech Marin, Bruce Payne, Ron Perlman, Sadie Frost. I mean, you know, what a lineup. So I can't wait to see this. This looks really, really quite cool indeed. Shot in Mexico as well. So yeah, I'll take that home. Whether I'll be watching this, I don't know. But I've had it in my basket for a while. I made use of the eBay trick at the moment. Come back to that in a minute. But yeah, Jeanette MacDonald and Nelson Eddy, 4 of their films. Very kind of operatic musicals. But it's just about having a diverse choice, isn't it? Just about having a diverse choice for everybody, any age, to watch films that aren't readily available. Yeah, you know about this eBay trick. I know you do, because you know more than me. And that is that you never buy anything from eBay straight off the bat. Yeah? So if you see something on eBay and you think, oh, I fancy that, let's get it. Don't get it. Stick it in your watch list, and then 5 times out of 10 you'll get a seller offer, an offer from a seller saying, you know, do you want to buy this at 10% of the reduced price? So you watch things first, give it 24 hours, then normally you'll get a seller notification or buy notification in the meantime to offer you a discount off that product that's in your watch list. That's what I do now. I never buy anything off eBay straight off the bat. Everything goes in the watch list, and normally a couple of times a day I'll get a ping on the phone and it'll say 10% off. Do you want to take this offer? And then But you know about that. Mystic Pizza didn't have it in. I'm on another kick of getting in customers' requests. So if you're a customer and you have a request, hit me up, because I'm in a generous mood. But yeah, Mystic Pizza, just a great, it's like pizza. It's a great, nice watch. Ooh, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, seen that years ago. That's good. But it's like this one I'm just about to open now. I know what it is. Wholesome, good entertainment that you kind of miss. Same with mermaids. Didn't have mermaids, didn't have Mystic Pizza. Kind of ideally suited to one another, don't you think? But yeah, both MGM, funnily enough. But that's cool. Yeah, films I should have that I don't. So I'm pleased to get this. Now this is another Warner Archive that I got in. Now this I put in my basket on, I think it was Music Magpie, and it was $17.99. I can't justify $17.99 for a. Oh, it's an MGM limited edition collection. It's Region 1. Let me take this home and have a look, because most MGMs are region free. I hope this isn't Region 1. The only reason I say that, it's a Freddie Prinze film, a Freddie Prinze TV movie. I'm really intrigued to watch it. I've had a lot. I've never seen a Freddie Prinze movie. And I'm kind of intrigued to watch one. So this is the $1 Million ripoff. I'm hoping it's region free, so that I can rent it out to people. I can play Region 1 at home, but I like to share. I don't have to keep anything for myself. But we shall see. I'll take that home. But yeah, $17.99. I put it in my basket. They offered me the disc at $12.99, and I said yes. Right, let's just whip through some comments. What do we got? Hi Dave, if you haven't already seen it, I can highly recommend the music documentary Muscle Shoals. Yeah, I think I have seen it, Ancient Slumber. But again, it's another great music documentary recommendation. And I love music documentaries. Apollo Reed says, hi Dave, interested in your thoughts on the indicator releases for the Jean Rollin movies, if you own them, and your thoughts on his movies in general. Both Rollin and Franco, well, I kind of hold them in the same regard. I found them difficult to tap into. One of my friends recommended Rollin to me a good few years ago. One of my friends called Nate. He said you must try them. The film he recommended me to start off with was The Iron Rose, and that's the first one I watched. I'm glad he recommended that, because it kind of got me in via the back door, if you catch my drift. So I kind of know what to expect now. I do like Rollin. I find him far more accessible than Franco. So yeah, I do like Rollin. He has an acquired taste with any kind of Euro sleaze, Euro cinema, Euro cult. They're not the easiest films to get into. There's a languid pace to them. They are art house horror, but I think if you put the effort in, I think you can really get a lot out of those films by Rollin. And I really look forward to the ones coming in December. I forget what's out in December. The Escapees, is it maybe? And I know there's something that's really, really uncut that's been butchered in previous releases. I forget. But yeah, they're doing a great job, and I think that the whole set, when it's finally complete, will just look tremendous. And I think he's someone that's interesting. So yeah, so I would say go for them with caution. And yeah, go for them with caution. And it's worth it. But persevere. Don't get put off by your first watch. Graham Reed says, 6 Lives of the Potato Men. Of course, Graham is from Birmingham. The film was set in Birmingham. And of course, he highlights the fact that they transport around the city with not much, with a great deal of randomness, as things do. And I've had things filmed in Liverpool and Wirral before, movies, and they kind of go down one road and then all of a sudden they're in another part of the city. But that's the movies for you, I suppose. Did you enjoy the chicken? Yes, I did. Terriola, I'm out of breath after that, Dave. That blasted chicken. I know that chicken. Rob Stringer says he didn't know there's a door 2. The first one is ace. Yes, Rob, you will be in next week, and I will be palming you off on the door 2. Oh no, the door is out at the moment. Of course, it's still out from last week. I forget who's got that. Oh no, Matt's got it, but it will be back in good time. So yeah, interesting. And Video Stash says, not quite Monty Python, is it? I don't really know what that means. But never mind. Yeah, so good comments. Thank you very much. If there's anything you need to ask or would like to ask, any suggestions, everything is really, really appreciated. from you. I do love to hear from you. And again, yeah, there's nothing so wonderful as being in the supermarket on a Friday night after work around about 7:30, and then suddenly I hear ping, ping, ping on my phone, and people start commenting on the show, which is absolutely fantastic. Really, really like to hear it. Again, if you're bored with the format, if you're bored with blah 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 blah, then please let me know, and we can mix things up. If you want to see anything in particular, I still need to pull out the music documentaries and do a little segment on those. But if there's anything in particular you want to see, anything you need to learn about, anything you want to tell me, then please do. Please do. I would be grateful to hear it. Got some new music in, Sounds of Snips that we did recently. I'm addicted to these. I know Serial at Midnight has got a similar affection. Maybe it's just physical media people who do vidcasts. Maybe they just have an obsession over these box sets. But no, Serial at Midnight is obsessed with these box sets as well. They're released by a company called Cherry Red Records. And they just do these curated, lovingly curated box sets of different eras of music. And they're great for me because there's like 30 tracks on each disc. There's 3 discs in a set. I can just put the disc in first thing in the morning. I can carry on with work, and it lasts for a good couple of hours, and there's hit after hit after hit. But it's really obscure stuff as well. I mean, this is the latest box set that came out. It's called Pour a Little Sugar on It. It is the chewy sounds of American bubblegum, and it's just such a jubilant, joyous compilation. 91 tracks, all different kinds of music from that era, and it's just absolutely fantastic. You got the Velvet Underground, you got the Monkees, you got the Archies, just a bizarre combination of really cool music. Some you have never heard of in your life, and some that is a little bit familiar. But it's great. And like I say, they release loads. Climb Aboard My Roundabout is another one. The British Toy Town pop sound, 1967 to 1974, which is great. And also I've got a local one, which is Let's Stomp, Merseybeat, 1962 to 1969. I love these because they're a different era, and the liner notes make it worth getting them alone, because it gives you that musical history lesson. I always love learning things. Finally, let me give you some Sleeping Giants. As I said, I'm going to stick to horror this month, try and pick out some horror films that aren't streaming in the UK. And it's weird, with the advent of Shudder, and with horror being probably the most easily, readily available genre of film, most popular genre of film, maybe, arguably. You would think that horror titles in general would be quite easily available, but they're not. I mean, I tackled A this week, just A, the letter A, and it was so easy to find the first 3 that aren't streaming in the UK. First one I've got is Absentia, the Mike Flanagan film, not streaming in the UK, which is bizarre. It's a great film, deserves to be looked at, and especially with Mike Flanagan's rep at the moment. I'm surprised that this isn't, on some lavish Blu-ray somewhere, but there we go. Next one I've got is Acolytes, an Aussie film about a couple of teenagers who bribe a serial killer to kill a bully. Really interesting. Not a perfect film, a few issues with it, but generally speaking, a really original film from Australia, and I really liked it. Joel Edgerton is in the lead role, and it's quite. I mean, it's not that old. It's only 2010. Yeah, it's about 15 years old, but I think it's well worth a look if you haven't heard from it or haven't seen it. And then finally, coming back to Larry Cohen one more time, we have The Ambulance. The great Eric Roberts, and the late great James Earl Jones is in this brilliant, tense thriller written and directed by Larry Cohen in 1990. Again, one of those films, I think maybe Scream Factory put it out in the US, but it really is deserving of a lavish. Well, it's never even got a DVD release in this country. It's crazy. We haven't seen it in the UK since VHS. crazy. And it's great. It is a really, really cool film. This is an Aussie import. I'd love to see this in Blu-ray because it deserves it. It's such a cool film. Right, there we go. I'm going home to check out the $1 Million Ripoff and crossing my fingers that it's region free. That is the one thing with some of the other archive collections. Actually, can anyone answer me this? The other archive collections, the Universal one, are they all region locked? And Sony Classics, their MOD range, are they region locked? There's a few I've kind of pinpointed, aside from the Warner Archives, that I'd like to get in. But I'm just worried that they're going to be region locked. It's fine for me, but I hate watching a film and not being able to come into work and go, you should check this out, because it really annoys me. But hey, right, I'm going to go and watch some men run around a grass pitch, and that's about it. Thank you for watching. Again, episode 30. Wow, crazy, gone so quickly. Like I say, keep in touch if there's anything you need to know or talk about. Yeah, let me know. I left this home. I left this here last night, which I'm really annoyed about. This was essential to my meal and my tomatoes. Left them here in work. No good in work, but never mind. Right, let's go. And I will see you at the same time next week, which I believe could well be in 7 days' time.